in some cases, we've seen some of the publishers who are actually reducing the print availability days, and yet engagement as well as revenue taking an uptick in subscriptions. And as a result, we wanted to focus on a couple of those that are in the throes of that right now. And I'm actually going to transition this over to Mather Economics' own managing director, Matthew Lulay, who will introduce you. Take it away, Matthew.
Thank you, Nikki. Very excited to introduce our next topic on reshaping print analytics. We're very lucky to have two great industry partners and leaders here today, Gary Lavariere, who's the Director of Audience at New England Newspapers, and also Pat Leader, who's another Director of Audience and Consumer Revenue at the Spokesman-Review. I've had the pleasure of working with both of them for a number of years and have always had a great deal of respect for their leadership and insights into the industry. So we have a lot to cover in 30 minutes, so I'm going to turn it over to Gary, who's going to walk you through some of his insights. And then we're going to leave some time for a Q&A at the end. So without further ado, Gary, take it away.
Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you so much to the Mather team for having me. I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be here to present on something that's an incredibly hot topic in the industry. Which is the digital transformation, and a lot of us ourselves are asking, you know, how can we move our print readers over to digital? How can we get them consuming our content in a digital format? We know we still need the print revenue. We know we still need to maintain print. But on the other hand, we know it's very costly, and we're not seeing the growth in print, unfortunately. We're seeing the growth in digital. Let's see, almost a year ago now, the pandemic hit, and we started to really get hit with some hard advertising revenue blows. And you know, we started out trying to figure out, you know, how we were gonna, you know, make it through. You know, honestly, you know, our digital efforts were incredibly strong. You know, when I was looking at our numbers, we're growing, you know, 60% year over year in digital subscriptions, and that number was great. I mean, we were incredibly happy with that growth. But our print was declining, and the revenue wasn't meeting it. Once we saw the drop from the pandemic, losing nearly 50% in the first few months, we knew we needed to make a change. You know, we saw during the pandemic in the first few months, everything going digital. Groceries, you know, shopping online for groceries was getting big. You know, making appointments online. Everyone was doing everything online. And at that time, you know, we felt it was right to start down a print reduction path. So at the time, which this was, let's say April or May, we were publishing the Berkshire Eagle, which is our flagship. It's out of Berkshire County, Massachusetts. We were publishing the Berkshire Eagle 7 days a week, and the Bennington Banner and the Brattleboro Reformer were published 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Once we started down the path, we engaged Mather, actually worked with Matt to work on what the revenue assumptions looked like. And so when we started working down that path, we were able to actually take our 7-day model and blow it out and look at every single day model with Mather. We went from 7 all the way down to 0. We looked at our revenue assumptions, we looked at our expense assumptions, and once we really looked at all those numbers, we decided it was the best idea to move to a 5-day model, move to Tuesday through Saturday with a digital Monday edition. And a Saturday weekend edition, where we actually include a number of different sections that were in the Sunday paper in Saturday. And it made sense for us for a number of reasons, Tuesday through Saturday. We were already publishing the Reformer and Banner Monday through Saturday. And, you know, the one piece that was hard for us was to give up the Eagle Sunday. We knew there was a ritual there for our print subscribers. We knew that was risky. But on the other hand, we still do print locally. We print out of the Berkshire Eagle, right below my feet where I'm sitting. And we knew we had to match up the days if we were going to print, and we weren't going to add Sunday back into the Reformer and Banner. So we decided to remove Monday, make Monday a digital edition, and extend that Saturday paper out into a weekend edition. So using our internal forecast and Mather's analysis, we assumed we would see about a 10% total loss in revenue. And that was between circ and advertising. We thought that, we would see about a 4% loss in home delivery revenue. And that was due to cancellations or rate reductions. People calling in and saying, you're giving me 30% less papers, or in Vermont, you're giving me 15% less papers. I want my rate reduced by that. But on the other hand, and the reason why we landed on 5-day, we saw our total expenses decreasing by 13%. And so when we did do this change, it's important to note that our print subscriber rates did not change. We did not change our print subscriber rates. We did hold save rates, which were in the realm of between 10 and 20% that our customer service team was able to use in order to save that subscriber from canceling once the announcement was made. But at the same time, we also did a website relaunch, and we also increased our digital rates. We knew, number one, there was going to be some print subscribers that said, you know what, I understand the direction you're heading, and I'm going to move over to a digital subscription. And we had, I'd say a maybe 50 to 100 move over that way. But we knew with the website redesign, with adding the Digital Monday in, we knew that, the rates, and we hadn't taken an increase in quite a while, and it was time to increase the digital rates while reducing the print days. We also took carrier pay as a direct reduction based on the days they no longer delivered. This was one that was scary for me. I thought that a number of the carriers would say, you're taking, 15 or 30% of my pay overnight. And, I'm going to stop delivering. I can't afford it. Luckily, we found carriers saying, I don't have to work 7 days anymore. I don't have to work 6 days. Hey, I'll take the pay cut, and it works for me. Remember that the tips are still coming in at the same rate. So they don't lose out on any tip. They're just really reducing their pay. And I was pleasantly surprised when I found out that the carriers were actually pretty happy with the change. Pretty happy to be working 5 days a week. In our market, a lot of our carriers are relatively older, and they were pleased with the change. So after months of analysis with Mather, driving Matt crazy, we finally moved to a Tuesday through Saturday frequency, and this was for all 3 of our dailies in October. We explained to our readers that the message was we needed to do this. During the pandemic, the shift to digital was clear. We saw everyone moving to our website, moving to our e-edition, and we asked for our readers' support through this. We asked that, they know that we're doing this with good intentions. It helped that, we are locally owned. Our investors are local in the community. Our community knows them well. So that really helped us to really paint that picture of, listen, this is where everything's heading, and we need to make that change. And so at the same time, once we did make the change, we heavily promoted all of our digital products. We launched extra e-edition pages in every e-edition, every daily e-edition. So the Monday through Saturday that we publish, our e-edition, we add about 4 to 8 extra pages every day. And our digital Monday, which is just digital, is about a 36-page e-edition. our Monday paper was 16 pages. So our subscribers are getting, double the content and just, in a different format. And so we just an example of the Digital Monday. So, we aren't restricted with print anymore. So we can do some really cool designs and whatnot on the e-edition, a lot more embedded links, a lot more video, a more interactive experience. And that's what we tried to make our Digital Monday, and what we're seeking to make every day of the week in our e-edition a much more interactive and enjoyable experience than reading that print hard copy. And just to the right, that's a quick example of our Weekender, which is published on Saturday and is meant to be read Saturday and Sunday as a leisure paper. So what everyone's wondering, the results. At the time of the announcement, I'm happy to say we had more praise and support for our decision than complaints. We had less than 5 cancellations. I can count them on one hand. They escalated to me, so I know exactly who they are. Once we made that announcement, the support came pouring in. People understood the digital transition had to happen. People understood from the pandemic how many companies were moving to digital in some form or fashion. We saw immediate increases to our website in e-edition. Our Digital Monday grew by 50% in active readers on our e-edition on Mondays. And the revenue decreases we baked in, we never saw them. We are currently flat in circulation revenue. Where we lost was certainly in single copy. We did not have those days to print, and no one could buy them, right? So that money was gone. We knew immediately we were going to lose that. The good news is we replaced that with our digital subscription revenue. Between our 60% growth and our revenue increases, our rate increases from digital, we're at about 90% increase in digital revenue year over year. We also didn't see any changes in advertising revenue. Now it's a bit hard to see, what exactly happened because of the pandemic, but we did not have any advertisers call in or say, you know what, I was running on Monday, I'm not going to run on Tuesday, or, I was running on Sunday, I'm not going to run on Saturday. We did not see any of that. And just to look at the digital circulation and where the numbers are heading, you can see even once we made that change right in October, in the purple graph is our FY21 in October. It really started to launch even more than it did during the pandemic. And we're still seeing we're at about that 6,000 or a 60% growth number in digital. So in closing, as a company, we see this as a stepping stone. The legacy readers, and I say this all the time, they'll never adapt if you give them exactly what they have in print. If you're not giving them extra e-edition pages, if you're not giving them special content on the website, if you're not making the e-edition an interactive experience, they're going to be fine with their print paper. They are. That's what's going to happen. Every print reader, and like most things, people are creatures of habit. But you can change those habits. And if you're not considering a print reduction, you should be. I am a supporter of a print reduction, and I think it is necessary for our industry to start transitioning people over to the digital side.
Thanks, Gary. That was really insightful, and we have lots of questions for you. But just to make sure we can make sure that Pat is adding her thoughts, we'll reserve the questions for the end. But sure. Pat, please take it away.
Thanks, Matt. So the Spokesman-Review is a privately owned newspaper in Spokane, Washington. The title of my presentation, Preserving History and Adapting for the Future, I can just start on this slide. The tower that you see is our building where our offices are, and it has been our office since the founding of the newspaper. moving on. And a little bit about our history. We've actually been in business longer than the state of Washington has existed. It was founded in 1894 by William Coles, who had been a police reporter for the Chicago Tribune. And the Coles family continues to own the newspaper today. Our publisher is the great-grandson of the company's founder and the fourth generation of the Coles family to run the paper. Now, as a privately owned newspaper, we have some advantages. Certainly the family, this is a legacy business for them, and they have a lot more tolerance for revenue decline, but they still, just like any board with a corporate entity, expect to see some revenue. So trying to get a handle on this. So some of the things that we were facing, 21st century challenges, we have a really large footprint. We cover 16 counties in 2 states. Amazon just opened a huge facility in our area and gave us some competition in the labor market, caused us to have to raise rates for delivery personnel. We have an aging population of loyal 7-day customers, like many people do. And the reliance on print newspapers all over the country has declined, and our carriers were delivering smaller draws with the same mileage. And I'm going to get used to changing slides this way. The next challenge, again, all of you in the newspaper industry are facing. The yellow bars are our circulation revenue. The orange bars are our advertising revenue. And you can see the dramatic change from 2016, when the revenue split was about 50-50. Now in 2021, the gross revenue for circulation is 78% of the company's revenue. Some of the actions we've taken to increase revenue, we are big Mather users, and Mather has helped us to raise subscriber rates by 50% every 9 months, 2 years in a row, using market-based pricing. That added $2 million in subscriber revenue. Like many, we've added 4 premium editions. That adds about $120,000 a year in revenue. We've eliminated vacation credit for the first 14 days of a vacation, and we relaunched a digital pay meter after 2 failed attempts, tripling our digital subscribers, again with the help of Listener, to manage a dynamic pay meter. And we've launched a robust welcome and stop save prevention series to improve our churn. We've also done some cost saving, as many people have, and again, as a privately owned newspaper, we don't really have the option to eliminate people and consolidate positions to managing multiple properties. So we really have to be creative. So we've optimized our routes, trying to achieve better profitability for both the carrier and for us. We've tested various versions of print reductions in targeted rural areas. Here are some of the things we've tested. We've eliminated and changed subscribers to digital only, split them into 3 groups. 1, we reduced rate back to the digital rate. 1, we didn't change the rate. 1, we changed the rate. We offered them a tablet and learning sessions. Another test that we did was we reduced print delivery to Wednesday and Sunday only and offered a tablet and learning sessions. And in 1 group, we changed all of the subscribers in the targeted area to US postal mail. Unfortunately, all of our tests resulted in an 80% revenue loss. Not a great result. Then COVID hit. And when that happened, our advertising took a dramatic decrease immediately. We took quick action using some of the tactics that Ben mentioned, explaining it to our subscribers. And we actually eliminated Saturday and didn't really lose subscribers at all, and we reduced our expenses by 16%. And then we heard about this, the Walter Hussman project, where he eliminated all print except Sunday, spent millions of dollars giving subscribers iPads. And our publisher thought this was a pretty good idea. He was really thinking about it. And then we asked, just for confirmation, we asked Mather to help us to look at that. Matt and his team analyzed our data. They looked at all of our historic circulation data, the advertising data, and the expenses, and they provided a recommendation that we cut one more day and that the results would be positive within 2 years. After looking at it, we were asked to do more than that. Our publisher considered cutting 2 more days, or maybe just printing 2 days. And we started looking at our hard data, most recent data, the escalating loss in advertising, and we looked for a solution with less risk. So the yellow bars here represent our core data, the core 2 counties where we distribute. The orange bars represent the other 14 counties. And you can see there's an imbalance there. %90 of our circulation and 88% of our revenue is from 2 core counties. Those counties only account for 81% of our expenses. So we decided to make our first new print cuts in the other 14 counties. We tested this option in one of the counties in January with good results. So on May the 17th, we will eliminate Monday and Tuesday print delivery in the other 13 counties. And we announced this to our subscribers 3 weeks ago, and I have the first 2 weeks results. And in the first 2 weeks, we have stops that equaled 2.3% of our circulation, which is about twice our average churn. And we've only lost about $600 in subscriber revenue. And we know that the expense savings will offset that. So that is our decision. Obviously, we have not completed this, and we know that we'll see more stops and more folks calling in for revenue reductions or rate reductions, and we can keep you posted on that. But so far, so good. And we appreciate Mather's input, maybe saving us from a really risky decision. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pat. That was fantastic. So lots of questions for both of you. And just to start off with, Gary, you had mentioned, the habit formation of the print product. People are used to getting in that routine of receiving the print edition every day. Can you talk a little bit about the tactics that you used to try to convert those folks over to the digital replica, and how you were able to grow that engagement on Monday? I think it was by 50%, you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And that as far as the habit goes, there is a ritual there, and I'll tell you how I know. This morning I walked in. Today's Monday. There were 3 customers that called in and asked why they don't have a paper outside. They were looking for it. It's been 6 months, so I know the habit's there. What we did was we heavily promoted our e-edition products. We heavily promoted our newsletters. We had our customer service agents available. They would sit on the phone with a customer for an hour, if that's what it took to get them on the e-edition and to get them to bookmark that site and to get them to go to it every Monday. We were very dedicated to our subscribers to help them get online, even if they couldn't, and get them to read that e-edition, look at a newsletter, go on our redesigned website. We kind of, we launched our new newsletters. We launched the extra e-edition pages, the Digital Monday, and the new website all at the same time. So it's kind of like, come check it out, it brought people there. I can tell you that our page views are up significantly, 40% year over year on our website, and our e-edition is up about 50% of active users versus last year.
Thanks, Gary. So I guess this next question is for both of you, Pat and Gary. You've had very different strategies in terms of renewal pricing and moving rates up on your all access subscribers over the past several years. I guess for Pat first, you've been fairly aggressive on rate. Do you feel like that's had any effect on your ability to convert subscribers over to a reduced frequency, landscape?
Absolutely. You can't really ignore that we have been very aggressive, and for example, our 7-day subscribers, who are about 43% of our volume, are paying about $10 a week. And for a local newspaper, that's a pretty hard barrier. And so our stop save strategy, I should mention this, we changed just as we were entering the COVID challenge, which we pay our customer service reps an incentive for saving customers. And what we did, actually, Mather provided us with a little tool so that each account, they can, if they get a customer calling to stop, they can type the account number into a little spreadsheet, and it gives them 3 prices. We changed our incentive strategy and doubled the incentive, and now we pay them the incentive based on the percentage of revenue they save. So they really are incented to try to keep that customer at the highest revenue, where Mather increased the rate. And then they have a bottom level. And with the reduction in print days, they're now getting basically a third less print. And their bottom is, you can reduce it by a third. And we are finding that the reps have embraced it, and they're saving 50% of folks who call in.
That's excellent. Gary, anything you wanted to add on that question?
Yeah, so we've been a bit of the opposite. We have not been aggressive on pricing. Our average rate, being local papers, we're about $6 a week, and costs are relatively lower here as far as labor and whatnot. But we have made a strategy where we take anywhere from a 10 to 20% price increase in a ladder every year. But we're not completely aggressive as far as Mather's-based pricing. I think that's worked out for us in some ways, as far as our churn rate being relatively low at about 1.8% monthly churn rate. But I think that's also helped us be able to goose up those digital rates. Especially when we made that switch and made all the digital improvements.
That's excellent. I think we have time for maybe one more question. There's definitely a debate raging, in the industry around the relative merits of gradually reducing days over time over the course of many years, or making a more dramatic change up front, going to perhaps only 1 or 2 days of delivery from a 6 or 7 day print schedule. And I'm curious about your thoughts, having lived this experiment. What your thoughts are on that in terms of the relative merits of either or. I guess maybe Pat, you can start off.
Well, our experience is certainly colored by the COVID pandemic, and with Saturday, eliminating Saturday at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and experiencing basically not a blip. I guess if I had to do it again, I would have done it all at once. At that time, what is the saying?
Death of a thousand cuts.
Yeah, something like that. And after increasing prices so much, and you've explained one cut, now you explain it the same way again. I do expect for this one to have more volume impact.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, the second one, if we do decide in sometime in the future to do another print day reduction, I do think the second one will hurt a lot more than the first one. But on the other hand, I do think there needs to be some transitional time for the print subscribers to at least get used to it. I think going from, and I respect what Walter Hussman did. I think it's incredible what they've done there. But I think it would be incredibly difficult to tell a print subscriber who's getting it 7 days, you're only going to get it 1 day, or 0, I guess, right? I think that would be hard without doing what Walter did, where buying every subscriber an iPad and really, moving home those iPad learning sessions and whatnot.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that insight. We have a lot more questions. Unfortunately, I think we're up against time. So I want to thank Pat and Gary for your insights and taking the time to go through such an important topic that's on the minds of a lot of operators across the country and around the world. So thank you so much. And Nikki, I guess I'll pass it back over to you.
Great. Thank you, Matt. And thank you, Gary and Pat. That was an illuminating panel.